Andrew Wood, the leader of another Seattle band called Mother Love Bone, died of a drug overdose.
Their lead singer died.
Andy, yeah, he was my roommate for a while.
Andy.
Yeah.
And it sounded to me like Andy was incredible.
But I think with Andy dying and then that band dying, there's nothing left.
Members of Soundgarden and Pearl Jam have joined together in a new side project called Temple of the Dog. And Soundgarden singer Chris Cornell wrote some songs about his friend's death and recruited Jeff Ament and Stone Gossard of Pearl Jam to help him record them.
I don't mind stealing bread from the mouths of decadence.
It's 1990, and the Seattle rock scene is electric with anticipation. Mother Love Bone's debut album, Apple, is just weeks away from release, and many believe it will be the record that puts Seattle on the map. But the real reason Mother Love Bone had so much hype was because of their frontman, Andrew Wood. One of Andy's closest friends and biggest supporters was his roommate, Chris Cornell, the rising frontman of Soundgarden.
So this is a guy that would have been a huge star, in your opinion, that he's
Absolutely.
one of these guys we don't know about, but we would have loved.
Well, Mother Love Bone was him and also Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam and Jeff Ament from Pearl Jam. They were a great songwriting team as well. You know, if you take two steps outside of Seattle, it's a very conservative kind of right-wing place. And Andy back then had like long blonde hair down to his ass, and he would wear kind of white face, kind of Kiss makeup, and he would play a purple bass, and he would wear spandex. But their songs almost sounded like, they sound like Discharge, like punk rock. It was unlike anything you'd ever seen. It was very aggressive, but he was very effeminate and very showy. He just loved Elton John and Freddie Mercury, and he loved that persona of just being over the top. Mother Love Bone, I actually feel like was the bridge between that period of commercial metal and Nirvana, for example.
Right, it was the bridge.
Yeah, and the fact that Andy died, that bridge kind of vanished.
This Monday afternoon, Andrew Wood, lead singer for the popular band Mother Love Bone, was pronounced dead from complications resulting from a drug overdose.
On March 19th, 1990, just days before Apple was set to release, Andrew Wood overdosed. The Seattle scene was devastated. And for Chris Cornell, it wasn't just losing a friend, it was losing a brother.
And I really, I felt like him and I together in the same town or in the same world, doing these things at the same time, that in a sense was almost like we were a band. It was almost like we were a team. And we could call each other and talk to each other about weird stuff that only we could talk to each other about. And all of a sudden that's gone. It's like, wow.
Destruction leads to a very rough road, but it also breeds creation. For Cornell, that grief poured out into music. He wrote 2 songs, Say Hello to Heaven and Reach Down, as a direct tribute to Wood. But he didn't want to just release them as Soundgarden. He wanted to do something special.
Now you wrote Temple of the Dog, 2 songs for Andy on that?
Yeah, that whole project came out of the first 2 songs, Reach Down and Say Hello to Heaven, which I wrote after he died. They were tribute songs to him, but then after writing them, it didn't really seem like it was going to be songs that my band would like. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, well, why don't I just record them with Mother Love Bone?
Meanwhile, Andrew Wood's bandmates, Stone Gossard and Jeff Ament, were trying to pick up the pieces. Mother Love Bone was over. They had no singer, no direction, and that's when Cornell reached out. What started as a simple tribute quickly turned into a full-blown project. With Gossard and Ament on board, they brought in guitarist Mike McCready and Soundgarden drummer Matt Cameron. And just like that, Temple of the Dog was born.
This next song was written in tribute to the man that sang that last song. His name was Andy Wood, and
It was a turning point in my life, and I think everybody here's lives when we lost him. And so this one's for him always. Andy, this is for you. Say hello to heaven.
In more music news, members of Soundgarden and Pearl Jam have joined together in a new side project called Temple of the Dog, whose debut album went top 20 on this week's Billboard chart. The group was formed in 1990 when Andrew Wood, the leader of another Seattle band called Mother Love Bone, died of a drug overdose, and Soundgarden singer Chris Cornell wrote some songs about his friend's death and recruited Jeff Ament and Stone Gossard of Pearl Jam to help him record them.
When Stone and I were in LA promoting the Mother Love Bone record,
we were like, okay, well, maybe we should just be bold enough to call up Jack Irons and see what he's doing, because we heard he wasn't, at that time he wasn't playing with the Chili Peppers anymore, so.
we gave him a demo tape and we desperately asked him if he wanted to play with us.
And literally just asked him on the way out the door, if you know of any singers, let us know. So he said, yeah, I do. I know a guy, Crazy Eddie.
But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Gossard and Ament had already started jamming with McCready and were looking for a new singer for a separate project. Through their friend Jack Irons, ex-drummer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, a demo tape made its way to a surfer from San Diego named Eddie Vedder. Vedder flew up to Seattle, jammed with the band, and something just clicked. This group of musicians would soon become what we know today as Pearl Jam. Since they were already together playing music, Vedder was invited to sing on a Temple of the Dog song. That song is Hunger Strike. Cornell originally planned to sing the whole thing himself, but when Vedder came in, his deep growling voice perfectly complemented Cornell's soaring vocals. It was pure magic.
And it's on the table, the mouths are choking, but I'm going hungry. I'm going hungry. I'm going hungry. I'm going hungry.
The name of the band, Temple of the Dog, comes from a reference to the first line of lyrics in the Mother Love Bone song, Man of Golden Words.
Wanna show you something like a joy inside my heart. Seems I've been living in the temple of the dog.
Temple of the Dog wasn't about record sales or radio play. There were no labels breathing down their necks, no expectations, just a group of friends making music to honor someone they had lost. When Temple of the Dog was released in April 1991, it barely made a ripple. There were no singles, no tour, and the grunge wave hadn't fully hit yet. But then, everything changed. By the end of 1991, Pearl Jam and Soundgarden were exploding in popularity. With the grunge revolution in full swing, Hunger Strike started getting airplay. Suddenly, Temple of the Dog was on the map. The album, once a quiet tribute, became a legendary piece of grunge history. Temple of the Dog was never meant to last. It was a moment in time, a tribute, a farewell, a bridge between the past and the future. But the music never faded. Over the years, members reunited for one-off performances, and in 2016, they finally did a full reunion tour to celebrate the album's legacy. But at its core, Temple of the Dog will always be about one thing: honoring a lost friend. And in doing so, they unknowingly help shape the sound of a generation. What's your favorite song from the album? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to see more deep dives like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you next week on Rockology.